Yep, this is a bit impromptu. What a crazy, crazy, crazy wrestling weekend we've had. I mean, nuts. And it all came down to last night and everything that happened last night. I mean, you're talking about the anticipation of the biggest and best and baddest wrestling event there is that's ever existed. This is WrestleMania. A very super lackluster build up to like this fucking event. Injuries, bullshit storylines. Like you can't fucking fathom how much of a disaster going into WrestleMania this was going to be. But you had NXT, and it was so amazing, right? You had WrestleMania, that I don't care, man. Anyone can talk any and all the shit they want about that fucking show. Any and everything they want to talk about that fucking show. I thought the show was good. I'm not going to say it was great. I mean, I didn't expect it to be perfect. But for all the injuries and all everything that went down, to get the show that we got. Now, that main event was lackluster, whatever. There was a bunch of things that weren't right. But for what they were able to do, I will sit back and say they fucking did the best they could. And you talk about last night. Last night was bananas. Now, normally I give my Peter's Raw recap right after Raw. But I had to go root for my Carolina Tar Heels. That's why I'm wearing this hood today, because it's not a good day for us Carolina fans. The game last night was up and down and topsy turvy. It looked like a fucking Raw, but we went down. I mean, oh man, we did the job. We did the job in the national championship to Villanova, to a last second buzzer beater. A fucking buzzer beater. Took us out. So I'm in mourning right now, and I was waiting to go into my job, but it seems that some shit's fucked up, so I have the day off. So I got to watch the rest of Raw like earlier. I think I finished watching it maybe an hour ago. I had to take care of some shirt stuff. But man, was this show a fucking doozy. I mean, it was a fucking doozy. That's the only way I could describe like this show. I mean, front to back, debuts. Well, it started with a regime change, debuts, fucking returns, call ups. I mean, uh, fucking number one contenders, title change. I mean, this was the most jam packed show in quite some time. And this is what I've been talking about. If you've been checking out Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, or Peter Talks SmackDown, or Peter's Raw Recap, is that, the WrestleMania for what it was, and then it broke record. They said it was 101,000 people that was in that son of a bitch, right? But they were looking past this WrestleMania. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna make chicken salad, and we cannot wait to that Monday after to debut new stars, to do things, move in another direction and see what happens, and just see what happens. And sure enough, this was a kickstart to this fucker. I mean, kickstart to this motherfucker. It was a kickstart to this. All right. So the show begins. Well, anyway, show is in Dallas, right? And it starts off with Vince, and maybe one of the biggest reactions Vince got in quite some time, because he the road to WrestleMania, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Brooklyn. He wasn't getting these big, huge pops and shit, right? But the Raw after WrestleMania crowd is always like this super international crowd. They're zany, they're crazy, they try to take the show over, but for the most part, they make everyone feel like stars. Everyone, from the fucking guy holding the camera to the McMahons themselves, right? They make everyone feel like a big deal, right? So that's always the fun part of watching Raw after Mania. So Vince comes out and it's just this huge pop. He fucking shoots on Shane, right? He talks he talks about Shane, and he talks about that fucking lockbox. We've been wondering about this fucking lockbox ever since Shane brought it up in their first confrontation, their first face to face. This lockbox, this goddamn lockbox, and I think Vince knows. He knows that people have been asking about that fucking lockbox. You know what I'm saying? He knows. So it was almost like a rib. I like to think it was almost like a rib when he was like, I had to go take care of some business and go take care of this lockbox stuff. And it's like, I laughed. I fucking popped for the lockbox. So what can I say? Well, and then, before he could continue on, he was talking about Shane. Shane actually comes out a battered and bruised Shane, showing the effects of the fucking war that he went in with the Undertaker. He's limping. He can hardly walk. His face is all bruised up. It looks like his nose was injured. I mean, he's fucked up. And he's staring at his dad and since I'm the only man in this family, I come to shake your hand and congratulate you. And he basically turns to the crowd, thanks the crowd, and then he says goodbye. And then the crowd just goes, let him have it. Let him run it. Let him run it. And Vince is still kind of like healing out. He's like, like, see, something about him getting his ass whooped. But anyway, nevertheless. And Vince is like, when he leaves, he's like, hey, wait a minute, you're not gonna upstage me. And he rolls up on him, and the crowd is like, let him run it, let him run it. And he's like, what? You want to run it? Go ahead, give you your best shot. And I sat there, and I fucking, because I was watching the first hour live. I actually had the same streaming thing going while I was watching the show. So I'm sitting there bugging out on the idea that after all the 5 weeks of Shane having to get ready to face the Undertaker, facing the Undertaker, falling damn near 20 feet almost to his death, right? He shows up and he just gets Raw anyway. He gets it any fucking way. And that's definitely, it's classic WWE. Okay, we're going to do all this stuff and have all these stipulations and whatever, win or lose, loser takes a hike, shit like that. This person wins the Royal Rumble, they get the main event. Nope, they just completely made that Taker match null and void. They made it null and void. So this week is Shane McMahon running the show, and that's about it. I fucking flipped. I was like, no fucking way, because even on top of that, he made an announcement about this show will be a show that you'll never forget, and it was definitely that. First off, we got the New Day versus Sheamus and Barrett, and it was a tag team match. I mean, it was a tag team title match. You had Big E and Kofi versus Sheamus and Wade Barrett. New Day retains, and again, I'm not talking about WrestleMania. I'm gonna talk about WrestleMania this Wednesday. Peter Jake Talks Wrestling. I think is episode. What episode would it be, actually? Would it be like 80 something? I don't know. Whatever. I think 87. Well, anyway, I'll talk more about the New Day and then their skit with Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, and Mankind. Um, but the New Day retains. They beat the League of Nations. The League of Nations turn on Wade Barrett because Wade Barrett isn't continuing his contract, and that was one of the things I was worried about. It's like what happens after they lose, but they didn't lose. They actually won at WrestleMania, but then they were entitled to another shot, and then they lose. And I was like, it's not about the New Day. This is all about. This is definitely all about what's to become of the League of Nations because they can't be. They got to break them up at some point. They got to break them up. And they got to job out to somebody, especially these new guys coming up somehow. And then they did that. They turned on Wade Barrett, and I knew that was going to happen. And then out comes the Wyatt, and they turn babyface. The Wyatts come out, fucking, Harper's hurt, so he's not there, but they're full blown baby faces now. Like this was what they needed. Now, if Shane is the one, I'm thinking in the back of my head this is a ruse, and that Vince, this is all Vince, and it's like being put out there that it's Shane. It's almost like the Big Show having the Big Show can't tell anyone that Triple H trained him because it ruins his gimmick. Don't tell him, Big Show, don't tell him I trained you. It ruins my gimmick. I think if this is the case, because it's still Raw and whatever, I still feel Vince McMahon has his thumb on everything. He knows what the people want. It's just that he wants to give the people what he wants to give them. So now he has a heel, so if the case there is that what was lacking with the Wyatts is that we as fans have been fucking screaming for them to be baby faces for the longest time. We finally got it. We finally got them as baby faces. I mean, before any kind of turn, you get the fucking, the Fireflies and all that stuff. We don't really boo. We don't boo them. I mean, if anything, we just sort of captivated by them, or we're bored by them because they're so still and they're only set up to lose. Even the last few they had with the Undertaker and Kane, they weren't booed. So this turn here and fucking go and take out, because at WrestleMania they made it look like jabronis, straight up, and now they're on another road to redemption, and it's about fucking time. They show Vince leaving, and he's like, "Yo, I'm the fuck out of here because I'm a captain, but I'm not going down with this sinking ship." But Shane running the show is only temporary. I just want to show him that my way is the right way, and the way he's going to do it is going to run it into the ground. Summer Rae versus Sasha Banks. Banks wins. Nothing much to it. You want Sasha, you got Sasha. Apollo Crews debut came out of nowhere. I heard nothing. I mean, I'm not someone who keeps up with rumors and stuff. Every once in a while, I go to my Wrestling Rumors app or some shit like that. But I ain't been on it recently. And I haven't heard any discussions on any websites or nothing, or any podcasts about Apollo Crews getting a call up. I mean, he won his match against Elias Sampson or what have you. And I was thinking to a certain extent that there was a possibility down at NXT that he would be champ, that they would develop him more and more. But I think they're like, this guy has star written all over him. Let's go ahead and bring him up to the main roster, and let's see what the fuck we can do with him, because it was pretty. It caught me off guard. I imagine it caught everyone else off guard. But he went in there all smiles, and he went up because I guess I was going back and forth with the people I was watching live with. Who is going to be? And it ended up being Tyler Breeze. I thought it would be Fandango, but he went up against Tyler Breeze, someone that when Apollo's, well, I would say Tyler Breeze's last match in NXT was against Apollo Crews. So I'm sitting here thinking, are they going to rekindle this, or he showcased what he could. The moonsault, the standing moonsault, and then that spinning power bomb, and boom, Crews wins. We get a call up, debut, Victory. He looks strong. I wonder who he's going to face first. I wonder. And I had this idea that he may just end up facing Del Rio. For some reason, I think he's going to go up against Del Rio. One can only see. Wait and see. Reigns and a babyface Charlotte is on Good Morning America showing off their gold, which I thought was very weird. We get to the second hour. Now, the second hour is me, because that first hour was me last night. The second hour, I got to catch the second hour moments ago. And it starts with Roman Reigns. And man, oh man, does he get a lot of motherfucking heat for this one. I mean, heat out the wazoo. They're just booing the living crap out of that guy, right? And now, the new gimmick is him walking down the ramp. He's no longer he's not a man of the people. And he makes a comment, he's like, hey, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy, right? I'm the man to beat. That's who he is. He's the guy. And he's like, anybody in the back, now that I've slayed the dragon that is Triple H and so on and so forth. All, whoever in the back wants some, come get some. He's like all of a sudden Roman Cena or some shit. And it's funny, I thought Cena was going to come out, but that wasn't the case. We get Chris Jericho. He cuts a promo. He's like, you're a guy. And he also cuts the crowd off because as he's giving his heel promo, right? And he's like, you're just a guy. You're just like these idiots here too. And the crowd starts chanting, we are idiots. And Jericho is like, see what? You know what? You're not going to hijack my fucking promo. I'll shut the fuck up. All right? And then he goes over to the corner for like a hot second, but then he comes back and cuts the rest of his promo. And he demands a title shot. AJ Styles comes out. A limping Kevin Owens, comes out. Like basically, Royal Rumble Owens shows up. Sami Zayn shows up, and then they're all standing in the ring, and then they all go into their respective brawls. Like Sami Zayn and Owens go at it. AJ Styles and Jericho goes at it. As Roman Reigns just kind of stands over to the side and watches it all. But then right after AJ Styles gets thrown out of the fucking ring by Jericho, I'm thinking, my God, this guy is such a geek now. Even from my fucking my predictions of my prediction of the of WrestleMania of him doing the job to Jericho is that next year he's going to be fucking in the over the top Andre the Giant Battle Royal shit, and he's going to be in obscurity. That there's no money, they see no money in this guy, right? So he gets tossed out, and I'm like, God damn it, man! This sucks. Well, anyway. After he throws out AJ Styles, Jericho that is, he catches a vicious spear from Reigns, and that's how that segment ends. And in my head, I'm like, uh-oh, we got a four-way. We got a fatal four-way for the #1 contender. Either that or a tag, And then sure enough, we find out that it's been booked. A fatal four-way. This is Renee Young, I think, with Shane in the back, and he books the fatal four-way for the #1 contendership as the main event of the show. Baron fucking Corbin he gets the call up. He makes his debut on Raw. So we got Apollo Crews. We got Baron Corbin. These brand new fucking stars on top of Sami Zayn and the more recent signee AJ Styles and then Kevin Owens. It's like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So far, this is the NXT show. This is the call-up show. Right now, you look at the turnover of the roster right now. Well, last year, it was Sheamus on top. It was Cesaro on top. Not necessarily on top, but he was getting a lot of play. John Cena, all these people. And now we've completely gutted out that. and we got these new people on the rise. And down at NXT, they got all these new guys coming in too. So they gotta have room, man. They need room for these guys. And so they gotta do these call ups. And sure enough, the only thing about Baron Corbin, man, is that he looks so young. He looks like other than his receding hairline, he has a baby face. He has a baby face as a heel, but it's that's the only thing that throws me off. I wish he looked more menacing. And on the main roster, it's just like he comes off looking really young. That's the only drawback to him. But he knows the part. He's been training down there for quite some time. He's been down there for a long time. So if there's ever a time to call him up now. Again, Hurricane WrestleMania is past. And you're gearing up for Orlando. So he cuts a promo on winning the Battle Royal. Because that's the thing too. And I apologize if anyone's watching this and like he won the over the top Battle Royal. So he like his call up. This is like, all right, here I am, rocking like a hurricane, and he talks about winning the Royal Rumble, and then Dolph Ziggler come out, who's normally a crowd favorite, but it's fucking crickets, man, crickets. The crickets heard crickets with this motherfucker, man. It was pretty amazing. It was really amazing how one year he does a cash in on a Raw to WrestleMania, and the place goes ballistic. And now he comes out and he's just an afterthought. Incredible. Well, his match, he comes out, his match against Baron Corbin spills out into the crowd. You get the double count out. And Corbin's pissed off. His new thing is this. Everybody that makes a mistake, whatever he does to the initial person is on your head, right? Like this is all your fault. So after the count out, he's like, how dare you count me out? What I'm about to do to fucking Ziggler is the blood's on your hands, bro. And he hits him with the end of days on the outside. Looked pretty brutal. Good stuff. Dolph Ziggler's dead and his career. Zack Ryder comes out and Lillian botches a fucking intro because I think she knows that there's a fucking title match that's about to happen, right? So she's basically out there. Actually, she shouldn't have been out there at all to announce anything. It was a WWE botch, definitely a Lillian Garcia botch, to where she proceeds to say this match is for the Intercontinental Championship. But before she could even finish the sentence, she gets cut. Her mic gets cut. And it was pretty funny. You will see that in Botchamania. Definitely, you will see that in Botchamania. Zack Ryder gets to talking, and he tells the story of meeting Razor Ramon when he won the Intercontinental belt at WrestleMania, and that he took a picture holding his belt, and that he took a picture years later with Razor Ramon holding his Intercontinental belt, which is pretty fucking awesome. It's really, it's as awesome as AJ Lee, this video floating around of AJ Lee finally meeting Lita, losing her shit, and now she's married to Lita's ex-boyfriend. Wait, is it Lita? No, is it? Yeah, is it Lita? Yeah. She now she's married to CM Punk, so that's weird. But nevertheless, he thanks his dad, and as he's thanking his dad, the Miz comes out. The Miz suckers Zack Ryder into a title match. Now, if I was to say something about him winning the IC belt at WrestleMania, go back and listen to my predictions. It was almost without a shadow of a doubt. I believe that Zack Ryder was actually going to win that ladder match. Without a shadow of a doubt. He didn't even finish the question. I was like, Zack Ryder. And I gave my reasons why I thought he was going to win. And then I made a comment like, well, even if he loses it the next day or he doesn't keep it for that long, he just gets that moment. And I think what happens in this, he wins the belt off of Zack Ryder. I don't even think it was the entire 24 hours that Zack Ryder had that belt. It would have been interesting to see, but I think they just wanted him to get the belt. And I was listening on PW Torch too. I think one guy was like, "Yep, he's probably gonna lose it Monday." And sure enough, he fucking did. But the events that happened that made Zack Ryder lose it. There's a moment where the action spills to the outside in front of Zack Ryder's dad. He's front row, and the Miz just gets up in his grill, just gets the fuck in his grill, and which results to Dad Ryder pushing the Miz. He just shoves him, right? And then that's what that was. And then all of a sudden, this chick comes out of the fucking crowd to confront Zack's dad. It's Maurice. The return of Maurice. And they're talking shit going back and forth, Zack Ryder and Maurice. And Maurice smacks the living shit out of Zack's dad. Zack, undisciplined Zack, who's defending his belt, is more concerned about what's happening outside with his dad. His dad is bigger than him. He could take care of his fucking self. Even if it's a woman out there, they had a security to try to make it look like a work or so what have you. Make it like a shoot, honestly. But it was a work. But like, he takes his eye off the ball. He gets hit with a distraction skull crushing finale, and we have a new Intercontinental champ, and we have the return of Maurice. So it looks like we're gonna have ourselves a power couple. That is the Miz and Maurice. Will Maurice get back into the ring? Like, that's the next question. Is Maurice going to be in ring moving forward, or just a valet for the Miz? He's the IC belt holder now. Poor Zack Ryder, but nevertheless, he got a WrestleMania moment. Owens in the back, and yeah, they do this whole thing in the back where Young talks to each individual that's in that fatal four-way, and they cut a promo on how they're going to win. We get an announcement that there's been another call-up. The Vaudevillains will be on this week's SmackDown, and you be able to listen to Peter Talk SmackDown. I'll talk all about it. We do a women's chant presentation with all the women on stage, and then Lita, all of a sudden, she's like the women's, she's fucking like Miss Feminist, womenist ambassador to all the women in the world of wrestling. She's blah, grab all this like fucking moment where we all have to listen to your speech about like women and stuff. We love you. So they set themselves up, right? So you got all these women out there, they're talking about all the women in all the fucking world, but then like, hey man, you're missing a person. She goes by the name of fucking Bailey. If there's any one person that deserves to be on that stage right now, she goes by the fucking name of Bailey. Now, she just lost her fucking belt at TakeOver. She got choked out to Asuka. But nevertheless, man, they do Bailey chants the entire time. And Charlotte comes out and she's presenting, and it's like 2-ply where she's shooting like real emotions, about how she feels about the women's division and the women's title and that they did it. But then she turns heel after I guess she's done with like playing. I guess her breaking kayfabe and talking about how much she's happy about being in the women's division and the women's title and all this stuff. No more diva, no more this, no more that. She turns heel and starts cutting a promo on everything women do. I want to thank my father. Hilarious. And then she starts talking smack. All the fucking, women wrestlers in the ring walk out. But then she's confronted by Natalya. Natalya wants a shot at the belt because she's been having these awesome matches, but she's been losing them. But nevertheless, the match has been awesome. She wants a title shot. Cuts a promo like Charlotte mentions something about my family being better than your family, and boom, you get the sharpshooter, the Rick with the save. We get the Usos versus the Dudleys in a tables match, and I wrote down the Dudleys did not win this match. The Usos lost this match because they were dumb enough to think that the Dudley boys would stay on the tables long enough for them to fucking jump and crush them on it. Unlikely. They got the fuck out the way. They landed on the tables, and they get thrown through the table, so they don't look weak. They look dumb. The Usos lose. We get Sami Zayn with Young in the back, and he's cutting his promo about how he deserves to be in the WWE and how he's going to be the number one contender for the WWE Championship belt. But he gets ambushed by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens then drops him onto the table. Brutal. It looked gorgeous. So that's what happened in that. Right, and I think it was totally a ruse. Kevin Owens does not want Sami Zayn in that match. He just doesn't want it. Just want to. It's like fuck. Sorry. Fuck Sami Zayn. So he drops him through catering, and then we shoot back to the ring, and the Dudleys are still out there. The Dudleys are still the fuck out there, like talking shit. It's like I ain't going nowhere. Fuck y'all. You soft. Fucking Big Kaz and Enzo show up. They show the fuck up. And the place loses its ever mind. Another call up for NXT. We got the tag team of Kaz and you know what I'm saying? It was something, man. It was fucking amazing. It was fucking amazing. They do the whole thing. And, it's like, that's so cool. We haven't been so excited about fucking tag teams in so long. And it's like, these guys come along and it's like, yes, finally a tag team that understands me. Me. So they cut a promo on the fucking Dudley boys. One of the lines that stood out is like, I got the gift of gab and I got the gift of jab. And he mentioned something about Devon's eye being crooked, and that made him pretty pissed. But it was just basically one-liners on him. They called him soft, right? And and that's how the promo ended. It was sweet. I wouldn't say short and sweet, but it was sweet, man. It was cool to see those guys. It was cool to see they get the call up. It's cool to see that maybe there's steps and strides and going into the fucking tag team division because it's looking bleak. They just jobbed out the Usos. What now? Lucha Dragons ain't no more. The Ascension is a joke. So, but that was a great debut. And then we get to the final match, which is the main event that was booked by Shane McMahon. But since Owens attacked Sami Zayn is not part of this fatal four-way. And lo and behold, we get the return of Cesaro. But to the ring, the crowd's losing their shit. It was a fucking great show. He goes in, it's a Cesaro show. He's fucking doing the big swing. He hitting motherfuckers with uppercuts, test of strength. Man, this shit's amazing. It's off the rails. The fucking match is fucking awesome. Everything's great. I forgot to mention that earlier when the League of Jobbers were out there, that the kids hijacked the show. They started doing the wave and all that shit. Man, it was crazy. But here, Owens, money, everyone's happy. Everyone's fucking happy. Yeah, he's just a house of fire. I knew he wasn't gonna win this, but I'm pretty sure I had no idea that fucking a Styles Clash would win the belt for win number one contendership for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, again, I'm on record to say that AJ Styles is slowly becoming a jabroni. That the guys don't see what they don't know what they got in the guy, and by next year that he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. His matches aren't going to be special. He's not going to be hitting the fucking Styles Clash. He's going to be a fucking joke, man. But they give him this shot, dude. And up next is Over the Limit. Now, I don't know if they're going to blow their wad now and just be like, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles next Monday. Like, that's stupid. The belt, the title change, the title does not change at Raw. So, AJ is doomed if that's the case. But we wait like 3-4 weeks, man. We got Over the Limit and just build this feud. Now, as AJ, as the babyface, do we see a heel turn? Which I think is stupid. A heel turn for Roman Reigns only means that he's only higher up on the card. The idea of us booing and not liking Roman Reigns is the fact we just want him not on the big dog's main roster. We just want him gone. We don't want him doing anything but developing. And now he's, big bad Roman Reigns. Big bad Roman Reigns. He's the champ. He vanquished the evil authority, and now he's going to be facing AJ, where everyone's going to be cheering for AJ. Now he's expressed already how much he doesn't want to be a heel. But I think if they steady the course, there's nothing, whatever, there's no big thing, sweat on his chest. But he's still the main guy. And that's all that matters. The best way, hey, people, if you don't like Roman Reigns and you want to express how you don't care about him and you don't want him, don't be fantasy bucking the guy, because obviously you don't get it. You don't want him to be on top. So turning him heel will put him on top. Just don't make any noise at all. Well, just don't make any noise. Don't make any noise at all. Don't boo. Don't do any of these things. Just let the dude just walk out to crickets. You can hear fucking pin drops and shit. And that's the best way you get motherfuckers to change their mind. WWE to change their mind to get this guy out of the top spot. I mean, that WrestleMania match he had, man, was horrible. He's not ready for that kind of fucking shit, man. But yeah, Styles is the number one contender, and he gets it with a Styles Clash. And the match itself was a bat out of hell. It was pretty amazing. And that concludes Peter's Raw recap. Again, we got all these debuts, these call-ups, these returns, title changes, man, on and on and on we got this show. If I'm about to go listen to, I need to take a walk, and I'm going to listen to PW Torch and its live cast show after Raw, and I'm just going to hear people bitch and moan and bitch and moan and whine and complain. I should be eating some cheese while I'm listening to it, because there's going to be a lot of whining. I'm pretty sure it is. And it's like, again, the show wasn't perfect, but we got a lot of good stuff, almost to the point where it was almost fucking overwhelming. Maurice, Baron Corbin first match, Apollo Crews debut, Kaz and Enzo debut, the change of the belt, return of It was a great show. Whatever. I give it a 10. I give it 10 out of 10. Whatever. You know what? I'll be a mark today. I'll make excuses today for the WWE. I will do that. You know what I mean? I will do that. That was a phenomenal show. Not AJ phenomenal, but just phenomenal in general. All right? So, if you got anything to say, just leave a comment below when you listen to this. You can find me online at Ellen Japanese, LINJAPANESC, and then there's also PJTW Central. Again, leave a comment, hit the subscription, thumbs up, go check out my videos prior, and also Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, Peter Talks SmackDown are also on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Podbean. So if you got those things, you can actually put this in. Not this, because this is Peter's Raw Recap is a YouTube only thing. Anything else? Sharing is caring. If you can share this to your friends or what have you, be greatly appreciative. And then, is that about it? Again, yeah, so this has been Peter's Raw Recap. See you tomorrow for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. Peter Talks SmackDown this Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And from the bottom of my heart, go Heels. Watch